Hey Rapids fans, so excited to bring you guys really a preview of the 2023 season with who else? Pádraig Smith. How you doing, Pádraig?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. A lot of questions to go through, not only about what has happened in the off season, but really what is going to happen here for Colorado Rapids in this new season. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay,
Yeah, can't wait.
Let's get to it. The two previous years before 2022, really successful for the club, made the playoffs, and then a little bit disappointing last year. I think everybody can say that. What was the overall process in the off season to make sure you're heading into 2023 on a really strong note?
Yeah, I think a little bit disappointing doesn't do it justice. It was bitterly disappointing, to be honest with you, and certainly not what we wanted or what we planned for. I think coming off, such a strong season in 21, it's always a challenge in MLS. That's one of the idiosyncrasies about the league. Keeping that squad together when you've had success can be challenging. And what happened, unfortunately, was a bunch of injuries, so on top of not having everybody back, lost a little bit of depth. And then when you have those kind of injuries to a Brian Galvan, a Boubacar Keita, Jack Price, who played very little, and even Ollie Larraz, who was, a really solid part of what we were doing previously, that impacts you. That's a really tough thing to overcome. So I think going into this season, we were clear. We wanted to get our depth back. We wanted to get that level of competition within the training environment back to the levels that it was at in 21. And we talk about this all the time. We talk about our 11v11 training sessions being at the same level as an MLS game. That's when we feel like we'll have got it to where we really wanted to be. I think we wanted to get younger. And that was one of those things that the group coming off 21, we did want to keep as many of them together as possible. But some of those players that have helped us see such success over the last couple of years are getting to the point now where we need to be thinking about the future. We need to be making sure that we've got the ability to have continuity, not just in the short term, but obviously in the longer term as well. And that's a critical part of what we're doing. We're never just planning for one season. We're always planning for an extended period of time. So we wanted to get younger, and we wanted to really double down on what we have here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and that's the altitude. So we wanted to become even more athletic. And I think in 21 and 20 as well, we really did use our athleticism to hurt teams. So we had the ability to build up, which is obviously what we want to do, and possess the ball and dominate the ball, but also to be able to hit teams in transition. This league is a transition league, and you've got to be good on both sides of it. So from that perspective, in terms of the roster build, that was a core part of it, getting younger and becoming more athletic. But I think more than anything, we wanted to really improve our defensive solidity. We conceded 57 goals in 2022. And ultimately, that's really what derailed our playoff aspirations. And even though we only fell 4 points short at the end, we weren't good enough throughout the year, and we really needed to improve that. So we've gone out and brought in some good competition there. Obviously thrilled to bring Maxo in, thrilled to get Illich into the building as well, to improve the depth of the goalkeeping position. Then we had Bombito in the draft, bringing Gersh back at left back. And even a player like Connor Ronan, who'll help protect it, in terms of the ability to team up with Jack Price, maybe play with Jack Price. If Jack Price isn't there, he can step in. So again, bringing that defensive solidity and getting back to the basics, the fundamentals that were very important to our success in the previous years.
When you talk about this vision really in the off season, you've already talked about a lot of those players in depth, but how were you able to execute that vision in the off season to get these players that you wanted here in Colorado?
I think that comes from really our overall philosophy and having a vision, and having a real plan and having good people. So much of it boils down to good people and everybody pulling in the same direction in the pursuit of our vision, which is what we want to talk about here. So I think it's the alignment between not only the front office, but the coaching staff, our scouts, our analysts, that we're able to go out there and be very clear and very targeted in what we're doing. And that's something that we take great pride in. We're obviously going to expand that in the future, and we will need to make sure that we're getting even better, because the level within the league is getting better year in and year out. And then critically going out and making sure that we're getting good characters with strong mentality that are going to fit in with our group. We're not going to be based on one superstar. We're going to win as a team. We're going to win as a group. And that's where the character becomes truly important.
And they've been doing that really over the last few weeks. You had the opportunity to see this all come together at the beginning. In preseason, it's been in Mexico and in Florida, down in Orlando. But a lot of these fans are like, well, we want a glimpse at what's going on. Everything's been behind closed doors, which is totally understandable. But P, you got to give us like some some things to look at for these players? Who's been impressing you? Who's been standing out in these matches that you've gotten to see during preseason?
Yeah, I have. That's obviously a big benefit. And it's been fantastic. And I think we've seen the team evolve. They hit the ground running, which I was very, very pleased with. And I think Robin and the coaching staff have done a terrific job of integrating the new players, because it's 8 in total, 9 actually with the goalkeeper. So it's a lot of players that are coming into the group, but we still have that core. We still have that strong spine that's there, from Will to Danny and Lallis and Keegan and Jack Price, Cole Bassett coming back, Diego Rubio, Mikey, Johnny. We really do have a good group that's been there for an extended period of time and who know what Robin wants. It's not easy, it's a challenging system at times, but when it works, it's incredible. So I think having those guys be the spine and then having the new guys integrate so quickly has been really terrific. Teams look good. I mean, if I have to pick out some players.
I'm going to make you.
Yeah, Diego Rubio's had a fantastic preseason. And again, really happy for him. I mean, I think he went a little bit under the radar last year. You want to talk about some of the top players in the league. In terms of goal contributions, he was right up there. He had an incredible year, and obviously was very, very pleasing for him to then break back into the Chilean national team, starting games for them. And that's pretty exciting. It's exciting for him. It's exciting for us. It was great to see Jack Price back out there as well. And that was something that, I think we missed last year. We missed Jack and just the way he's able to really find the rhythm of the game for us and dictate the rhythm of the game, I should say. Obviously, his set piece delivery is pretty good as well. And then it was obviously exciting to see Cole Bassett back as well and see him reintegrating into the group. But I think overall, very, very pleased with how everybody came together very quickly. And it's always telling for me when you see the camaraderie between the group, especially as you add the kind of depth that we've added, because people are going to be looking over their shoulder all of a sudden. There's no guarantees of a starting spot on Saturday nights. So that can often lend a little bit of tension, and yet the group is really in a good spot.
You mentioned depth that you added in the off season, but how important depth is in this league and with the number of competitions now that are inside this league. One of the things that also adds to depth is youth and really the drive to youth within MLS, but here specifically in Colorado. What does that look like for 2023, and what can you tell people about some of these players that are coming up through the system within the Rapids?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a fundamental part of who we are. It goes to the very ethos that we have here at the club and the type of club we want to be. We want to develop our own. Now, sometimes that means it's the perfect story, the Cole Bassett's, the Sam Vineses of the world who, are really here from a very, very young age. Some other times it means you're bringing younger players in and helping them develop and grow and become a really key contributor. And it's the Austin Trusties, the Brian Galvans, Michael Edwards, who again had a very good preseason. It's at the core of what we want to be. And I think when I look at the group this year, Darren Yappy probably does shine out. We're pretty excited to see how he comes along. He's had his first taste of MLS minutes last year, and I think showed very well in those. But very good for him to get a real preseason, and even though he's been on the radar for the last couple of years, it's easy to forget he's only turned 18 in November. So he's still incredibly young, but has the physicality, has the
presence.
He really does. He really does. And that's going to be exciting to see his development. Now, again, it won't be easy to get into the team, but he's going to have to work. He's going to have to fight, and he's going to have to really put himself in a position to succeed. I think Ralph Priest is another, as I talked about, sometimes you go out and acquire these younger players, and we've had real success at that within the league. Ralph is somebody who has all the tools, but who plays in a position that, first of all, can be occupied by Jack Price, which is never an easy thing to kind of push someone out of. But also it's a position that really lends itself to experience. You need to have experience to understand how to dictate the tempo of a game. And that's something that, can be a challenge for younger players. But I think Ralph's done really well to kind of learn from some of the more experienced guys in the camp and to continue his own development. So I'm excited to see what he brings this year. And thankfully he can play multiple positions. Yeah. That kind of flexibility helps as well, or versatility helps as well. So I'm excited to see him. Some of our young center backs are again taking the step. I'm thrilled to see Abubakar Keita back on the field. Just a great guy who's had a lot of bad luck, unfortunately, but he's really worked hard to get himself back into fitness. And he's slowly getting back onto the field. So that's exciting. Moise Bombito's had a good preseason. Michael Edwards has a good preseason. So, a lot of young players, a lot of young talent that's coming through. And it keeps everybody on their toes. So
Yeah.
it's super exciting.
And one of the benefits too is a lot of these players will get minutes with Rapids too if they're not getting minutes with the first team. So you talk about that experience within game situations. Well, they're going to be gaining that week in and week out, hopefully.
They are. The Rapids too, and the MLS Next Pro initiative as a whole, I think, is something that's going to be incredibly beneficial over the years. Last year was an absolutely terrific first start for us, and we were thrilled. We had one of the younger teams in the group, or in the league, I should say, and then you can go down even further into the academy structure. And I think, we've seen what Adam Beaudry's done now. He's moved into the U17 team and become the starter for them at the national team level, which is incredibly exciting. And he's one of, I think, 5 guys that had national team call-ups last year. Really exciting groups coming through there.
When you look at a season in a whole, you can almost break it into phases. Preseason is a phase, and that's over. Games are starting. Yeah. When you look at this next phase, it can be challenging here in Colorado to start the season off well when you have conditions that you're constantly dealing with. The pitch can be frozen, you're sharing facilities. It's difficult to get a good training session in a very crucial time of season. It sounds like the club is maybe looking at this phase of season a little bit differently. Can you talk a little bit more about what that's going to look like this year?
Yeah, in general, there's snow on the ground here. It doesn't make it easy. Yeah. It's not the nicest conditions to train in. And look, we're very fortunate that we can do things a little bit differently at times. So we're going to take this opportunity with the schedule falling the way it has done for us. We're going to stay down in Florida at our preseason base. We're going to stay there this week so that we just go directly to Seattle and that we're able to hit the ground running there. Some of the other away trips we have in the first month or so are to San Jose and Austin, 2 warm weather cities where, again, we can go there early, stay training on grass, get the sun, and ultimately prepare as best we can for these games. So it is a challenge. We're not the only ones. Obviously, there are other cold market cities as well that deal with the same thing. But with the league starting earlier and earlier, we're now starting in February pretty much every year. And obviously for us, we want to start even earlier. We want to be involved in Champions League competition as well. So it's important that we can try and make these small adjustments where possible. This year it's worked out and we're excited for it.
Let's talk about the advancements in the league this year in general. Maybe one of the biggest deals to ever come through MLS is this new Apple TV streaming deal. From your perspective, what do you think this means for the club and the league in general?
Yeah, I gave a presentation a couple of weeks ago to some of our partners, and I talked about it being the single biggest commercial deal in the history of the league. And if you take a step back and think about what this means for the league as a whole, it's groundbreaking. It's transformational. We have the opportunity to partner with one of the, if not the most innovative companies in the world. Yeah. And this is a company that's going to give us reach and scale that we've never seen before. And that, from our perspective, is absolutely incredible. So we're super excited about it. It gives us the chance to be storytellers. It gives us the chance to get out there and bring in people that can connect with our players and help those players then connect with our supporters and build that bridge and allow their stories to be told. We saw this as an opportunity to really connect with our supporters, to tell those stories, to help them understand who our players are, who our coaches are, who the people are here at the club. Because at the end of the day, we want to represent our community. We want to represent the supporters who are showing up week in and week out, and we want them to know what it's like behind the scenes. So having the ability to place this content on Apple, to reach a supporter base like we've never been able to reach before. So it's something that I couldn't be more excited about it. And I think that's probably the same for pretty much everyone in the league. It certainly should be.
Yeah. Well, I just picture Lawless's family and friends or Maxo's family and friends in totally different parts of the world, but having access to all that content in one place, not only can they watch the games, but they can watch all the content, get to know everybody. It really is going to open so many eyes across the world to players that they may not have known before if it weren't for this. So
it is
big things to happen.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting.
Okay, then the other thing that's happening this year, which is so exciting, is Leagues Cup. And the way that the structure of this competition is going to be, the season will take a little bit of a break. It'll be full Liga MX versus MLS. There's talk about these two leagues all the time. Which one's better? Well, here we go. We're going to see head to head what's really going on in both of these leagues. How is that going to help develop this league? How is it going to help showcase what MLS how much it's grown and will continue to grow.
It's a great opportunity for us. It really is. It's the chance to compete against these Liga MXE clubs and to really see where are we with this. Champions League and even Leagues Cup in the past number of years, because of when they're played in the season, it's often been a challenge. But right now we're going to be in a position where we're in the middle of their league or in our season. We're going to be able to go in there and really compete, and not just compete one or two clubs, but really go league versus league. And I think that's something that's incredibly exciting. We want that. We do measure ourselves against the league in Mexico, and it is something that I know our players think about, certainly we think about as a front office and as a coaching staff. It's something that you want to test yourself. You always want to see where you are. And as Champions League becomes even more important, and as we saw with the success of Seattle last year and what they were able to do, having won Champions League, we know what's out there. We know what's possible. And I think taking this break in the middle of the year, this will really mean all eyes will be on this competition. European soccer won't have kicked off at that point in time. So there is going to be a huge amount of focus on this. And it gives us a great opportunity to showcase our league, to showcase our clubs, to showcase our players, and to show what MLS has become.
It really is going to be all eyes on Leagues Cup on Apple TV.
Absolutely.
It's going to be incredible. I'm going to end with this, Pádraig. Game day experience, fan experience here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. The fans really create an atmosphere here. They're so big about making this a difficult place to play. And this is one of the hardest places to play in MLS. So how are you guys going to double down on making this the best place to be on game day, making sure fans are loving what they're seeing, not just on the field, but off the field as well?
Yeah, it's hugely important to us. Obviously, our record at home in recent years has been incredibly strong and really, really positive for us. And it's something that we do want. We do want this to be a fortress, and the fans are a huge part of that. So, for those that are showing up week in and week out, supporting this team, it's really important that we let them know they make a difference. It matters to the players. It really does. And it helps drive them on, especially in those minutes when the game is quite tense. You need that extra little bit of support and boost from the supporters. So that's been terrific. I think one of the things that we've looked at here, we've listened a lot in recent times and tried to get a real understanding on what we want the game day experience to look like and what we want the match day experience to be. Because what we want to do is create an atmosphere that lasts not just for the 90 minutes on the field, but is 2-3 hours beforehand and many hours afterwards as well when they're celebrating victories. So there's going to be a lot of interesting initiatives that are coming over the course of the year that we're very excited about. The folks that are here week in and week out, they have been incredible. Some of the best supporters in the league, in my opinion, certainly in the opinion of our players. But we want to double down, as you said, and really put on a show here and put on an event that people want to be a part of.
Yeah. So it sounds like more to come.
For sure.
When we're talking about what it's going to look like here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park this year. Pádraig, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. A great recap of what has happened, but also what's to come here for the Rapids.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah. All right, you guys, well, make sure you tune in as the Rapids take on Seattle this Sunday in the first game of the 2023 season. That's it for me.